Hello. For heaven's sake. Hell. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's turn this, what was made up for the purpose of making up a place where there could be something that would be against the truth or opposite or opposed to it, to be a place for heaven's sake, graciously, towards the purpose of creation, holy, without holes in it, actually. That's what the Course in Miracles is all about. What is a miracle? It is a changing of the purpose of perception to be a place where we get to practice making it mean what we would want it to be for. For what is this for? For me to see beyond the thought of separation, beyond the thought of separate interests, beyond the thought of meaningless meaning, of chaos, of communication not communicating, the thought of logic being logically proving that there is only meaningless meaning or chaos or death, decay, destruction, and separation, instead to be that I can meaningfully see through that and underneath can experience a universal experience that I can share with all of my whole thoughts, every one of you as thoughts in my mind as I see even the sun rising. I know I see it. It will rise. Even if I don't see it, it's behind the clouds perhaps. I know I believe it is there, and that when it rises in my experience, I am alive, experiencing it rise within my mind, with trust in time that it will rise. Patiently and knowingly, I give myself this trust to see the light that rises above the horizon of my perceptual body's eyes of the world of um, the dirt earth or something like this. The dirt earth that gave birth to the body being which speaks beautiful things, puts food in here and out of the other end creates some more mud actually. Playfully I play with him in a creative way that I can say all these things are true. They are the truth. I promise. I know. Yo, and the playful way of saying all these things is the way to say with care, I love you. Okay, so this is our Course in Miracles, of course, and the Course tells us we need not believe these things. In fact, it tells us we'll probably actively resist it, and that's okay. But that if we entertain these ideas, if we listen, if we hear them, if we remember, remind ourselves, and practice as it tells us to, we will get a result that we will actually like. Okay, so today I have no neutral thoughts. This is the lesson number 16. This is our 16th day in this year on our course. Of course, I have no neutral thoughts. I have no neutral thoughts. Everything is neutral. That's another thing the course says. So I don't know when I read these things, I'm like, but what? How does that work? Especially when I know there's friends of mine who are like more avidly like established in this course in some way that they say, man, I've never had a bad day in like 25 years actually, and I believe them because they seem like it's true. You know, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I know a lot of what their life is in front of me, and I believe they are actually that way. Compared to me, where I just know, hey, I'm like sometimes, you know. he he me, Joe E speaking is sometimes this way, like, oh, what's going on, you know? And admittedly admitting these things is a way for me to like not be subconsciously ruled by them and not pretend that it's otherwise actually until it actually is the experience of that actually. This pretending thing is like the way the ego would have us use the truth of some things, you know, applying it to where, well, we're not even really arguing and there is no other one even here. That's the ego's use of truth, which it knows in that way, applying it to the level which the dream is in until the mind or heart is truly established, will create actually a distrust for what the truth of absolute heaven can establish as an anchor or a root or a kite for our flight within the dream of all the sights of time turning to a happy dream for what? Giving what? Clear clarity to see beyond and through. And throughout the dream of separation, there is a call, a calling for connection to the reality of the infinite light that we can see inside when we take the time to take the world off. It is reachable. I swear to God, I know. And I swear that's not cursing, actually. Swear words are not curse words. They really aren't, depending on how we use them, actually. But if somebody says to me, this is just some me playing around, it's justly I am playing around with the word, speaking as a man, that if my friend tells me after I do something cool, fuck yeah, bro, gives me a high five, he's not cursing me. It's not a curse. But if somebody says, oh my God, shouldn't curse, that's bad, technically, in some way, the energy that they are presenting, it's not curse exactly, but it isn't exactly a blessing in some way. Whereas my friend who's like, fuck yeah, bro, there's a blessing energy he's given me, actually. And yeah, there's so much awesome nuance in that I just said, actually. So, technically, if somebody, in some kind of way, if somebody says, "Oh my God, shouldn't curse. If you do, you might go to hell." That's type of a curse, kind of in some ways, in the spirit of speaking, actually. Okay, here I am reading. Let's read on. Okay, paragraph number 1. The idea for today is a beginning step in dispelling the belief that your thoughts have no effect. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Just try this on. You don't need to necessarily believe, but you do believe that how you see is what you believe, like I believe there is snow there. I believe I am a body in a car in some way. These are thoughts that I have. There is no exception to this fact. Thoughts are not big or little, powerful or weak. They are merely true or false. Those that are true create their own likeness. Those that are false make theirs. Opposite. Opposing. Likeness is like, later we'll read in the course, my love created me lovingly. Creation created me creatively. Kindness created me kindly. That which I give, I receive, actually. To have peace, give peace. These are ways that thoughts that are true create their own likeness. Paragraph number 2. There is no more self-contradictory concept than that of, quote, idle thoughts. That doesn't make any sense, the Course is saying, actually. It's a disassociation from the power of your mind, or the mind, which the Course is attempting to help us understand so that we can unwind and only have the clear heart and mind of unstoppable bright light of the inside insight of the holy instant immersion of the kingdom within. What gives rise to the perception of a whole world can hardly be called idle. Every thought you have contributes to the truth or to illusion. Either it extends the truth or it multiplies illusions. You can indeed multiply nothing, but you will not extend it by doing so. Every thought you have contributes to the truth or illusion. There is a thought which contributes to the truth. This is the final thought, the Course says, the final concept, which is forgiveness. For what? Giving. And this word in English is a really powerful thing. In other languages, it's actually, I don't know, it's slightly not quite as powerfully distinct as, like in Russian, it's not, there's something about it that ain't quite as rightfully radiant as for what? For giving in English. Giving what to everything? Clear clarity. See beyond what we would have, receive, give, and share is the clarity to see beyond the separation of the meaning I'm making it be, that when my father says this or that to me, oh no, Man, the chaos, the meaningless meaning of the things that we seem to be communicating. If I can, in the moment, just, I can see, it is clear that you see this is not reality, and you're able to shine a bright light through your eyes, actually. There can be a smile in your pupils in some way. As pupils, we can learn this, I say. Hey, welcome, viewer. Chime in below. Say hello. Have me know who you are. Paragraph number 3. Besides your recognizing that thoughts are never idle, salvation requires that you also recognize that every thought you have brings either peace or war, either love or fear. A neutral result is impossible because a neutral thought is impossible. There is such a temptation to dismiss fear thoughts as unimportant, trivial, or not worth bothering about that it is essential you recognize them as equally destructive, but equally unreal as well. We will practice this idea in many forms before you understand it, before you really understand it. Paragraph number 4. In applying the idea for today, search your mind for a minute or so with eyes closed and actively seek not to overlook any, quote, little thought that may tend to elude the search. This is quite difficult until you get used to it. You will find that it is still hard for you to not make artificial distinctions. Every thought that occurs to you, regardless of the qualities that you assign to it, is suitable subject for today's idea. In the practice periods, first repeat the idea to yourself, and then as each one crosses your mind, hold it in awareness while you tell yourself, this thought about blank is not a neutral thought. That thought about blank is not a neutral thought. As usual, use today's idea whenever you are aware of a particular thought that arouses uneasiness. The following form is suggested for this purpose. This thought about blank is not a neutral thought because I have no neutral thoughts. Let's see here. I'm going to go back to paragraph number maybe 3 or 4, but let's start with 4. In applying the idea today, search your mind for a minute or so with closed eyes and actively seek not to overlook any little thought that may tend to elude your search. Now let's go back to paragraph number 3. Besides your recognizing that your thoughts are never idle, salvation requires that you also recognize that every thought you have either brings peace or war, love or hate. The Course often says things, it's like everything is either, you can put everything in one or two categories: an extension of love or a call for love. Now, and that salvation is now means that now I can experience letting go of the story in time, trusting that the spirit will unwind and the story will show eventually that all things work together for your good and there is no exception except the ego's judgment, actually. And the ego's judgment is the story of the strategy that the spirit works with in the English that we speak, or the signs of the truck that happens to drive by that says this thing on it that may trigger us. We can see beyond the trigger to the bright light that's underneath the film, as if in the metaphor of a movie, or the sign that has us recognize, oh yeah, like it says, let's see, discover. I remember in my mind, there came a teacher of mine one time and she said, hey, that message I gave you, this person in physical body had given me a message the day before. It was pretty cool and intense. And as I was in the driver's seat with my friend, she came to me in my mind. This happened to me in my experience, at least in my perception, in my memory. She said to me, hey, that message I gave to you, it is for everyone and it is especially for you. You will discover this. You will see. Right away, a car drove in front of us. It was Jeep Discovery. And it said, EFJ, especially for Joey, 321. And so in this way, I share this as a shareable miracle parable that the Spirit uses where we know we believe we are, and has us recognize that also in some way we are outside of it, or it is inside of us, or something like that. Okay, anyway, you have no neutral thoughts today. And the recognition of this will give us the power for peacefully. I pray this with you and say amen and have a wonderful day.